Disclaimer, even though this video is going to be a review somewhat on a kid's cartoon, the edits and possible commentary in the video will not be that suitable for young children. So technically this isn't really a video meant for kids, YouTube, and so of course viewer discretion is advised. It is for more of an older general audience, as most of my videos are. Hey guys, Chicky456 here with another video, and this one's going to be pretty different because I meant to have this video done a long time ago, but I would just either get sidetracked, new episodes would come out, or I just would try to film it and I felt like I was getting nowhere with it. But now I'm just going to go for it, and that is going to be a review of the cartoon series Gumal Jr. And yeah, this is an American who doesn't understand the language that's going to be doing a review on a cartoon that's all the way over in India. Before we can even look into the cartoon, though, we have to see where the show originally came from, and that's all the way back in 2006.
From humble beginnings.
Originally, Gumal Jr. started out as just Gumal, and it was a series of India action comedy films. So far, there have been 4 to date: Gumal Fun Unlimited, Gumal Returns, Gumal 3, and Gumal Again. Note each movie does follow a different plot, so it's not really, these are not really main sequels in a big storyline. Each movie is different. I have seen Gumal Fun Unlimited. You can actually find that on YouTube with English subtitles. I personally love the movie. I thought it was really good. There's also somewhat like a sad twist towards the end that even kind of got me teared up a little bit, not gonna lie. And you can actually find Gumal Returns on Netflix. I still have yet to watch that. There was supposed to be a 5th movie that was going to come out, but because of what happened with 2020 and all, that movie has now since been pushed back to 2023. Each of these movies is directed by Rohit Shetty. Note, Rohit also had works with the Shingam movie and the Smashing Simba movie, which down the line have later on became kid cartoons as well. And of course, then years down the line, Sonic Nickelodeon wanted to work with him, and they have now created the Gumal movie series into the cartoon we have today. And on May 13th, 2019, Gumal Jr. first aired on Sonic Nickelodeon. So of course, what is the plot line and the setting of the story? Well, the plot line mainly focuses around our 5 main boys, and now they are somewhat aged down from their adult movie selves now to their young kid teenage years, so to say. I believe it is somewhat separate from the actual movie series because there was an episode where they went to the movies to actually go watch a Gumal movie. So I'd like to believe that these two are in a sense separate. And basically the two like to butt heads and fight a lot, pretty much. They like to try to outdo each other, or to make themselves look better in front of the girl that they have a crush on. You know, your kind of typical high school drama stuff. The plotline also involves two that the boys have to be good or sweet in front of the principal and their parents as well, to try to give off that good student or that their best friend vibes. They all go to the same high school, Golden Hills High School, which is a boarding school, which is basically a school that the students actually live for months at a time. And of course, as the show goes on, we also do get to see the town that they live in, which is, I believe, also referred to as Golden Hills. We also get to see in camping episodes, they have like a camping special where the boys and the class are out on camping trips, so we get to see like a jungle forest area. They also, when the parents get introduced later on, we also do get to actually see the boys' houses. And lo and behold, the enemies are actually neighbors. And can I just say, their houses are freaking nice. They live like, you could tell they live in a gated community kind of area. So dang, they got some nice houses. Also too, the boys have actually been to the moon. They fail a math test, but they're able to get to the moon. You know, cartoon logic. Which is kind of nice too, because, you know, you get a flow of things. It's not always just in one location, which can become maybe boring, dull, or they might run out of ideas over time. Unlike one series that now just is stuck at the school all the time. Quick note, do you guys want to see how insane I am with this? That's little Shingam, Smashing Simba. Here it is. My Gumal Jr. list. Yeah, I keep track of all the episodes. I keep track of them all. Yeah, they've made a lot of episodes, so there's a lot of characters to go over, which is going to be our next subject. I'm going to, of course, talk about the main ones, and then a few secondary ones that I feel like are kind of important. But of course, with how many episodes if we can see here, I'm not going to go over all of them. Except shout out to that one guy in the rock show episode that was in the background air humping a towel the whole entire time. Just back there living his life, the best life he can at a rock show. Okay. Anyways, we got our first 5 main characters. So of course we're going to start off with the main one character, Gopal. He is age 14. He is said to be bold, confident, and strong, and known as the popular boy in the school, when really that's pretty much how the principal views him. One thing he does have a main fear of is the dark, which I kind of like that feature because usually that's kind of stuff you see in little kids, or like little kids in cartoons have a fear of the dark. So it's actually kind of nice to see that they're showing like, hey, you know, you can be a teenager and still be afraid of the dark. I would say he's definitely the leader of the group, when especially they have to come together and work as a team. One weird thing too about his character is he, I guess, takes the whole it's rude to point to the extreme, because if you point your finger at him, he gets in an angry trance-like state, and he'll grab your finger and hand and literally try to break your arm and spin you around. That's also in the movie adaptations of him. The adult character of him does that as well. I have no idea why or how this trait even came to be, but it's definitely weird, but it can help the boys at times if they need to get, if they need to defeat someone. I have no idea why Gopal does that. And then we have his rival, Madhav. He is also age 14, and he is said to be, he has like an inflated ego, he thinks he's all that, when really they say he comes off as a nervous and confused guy. I kind of feel bad for Madhav in a way. He does really seem like he wants to be the top and the best, but he can't really. He always tries to make himself look better than Gopal. He likes to make Gopal look like a zero and him the hero. He does know of his weakness, of his fear of the dark, and he does use that to his advantage at times. And then we have their 2 partners in crime, which we have Luxman 1 and Luxman 2. Luxman 1 is the adorable, sweet, nerdy boy. Protect this boy at all costs. Holy cow, he is just so overall adorable. He is the smart, tech-savvy guy in the group, but he can get nervous. He has a lisp, as they say, and he is age 13. He likes to call Gopal Gopu as like a friend name. Those 2 guys have such a strong relationship too. They are like best bros to the end, man. It's really sweet. He's also able to help comfort Gopal whenever he is afraid of the dark, which is really sweet. I love his nerdy look, his nerdy glasses. He's just overall adorable. Then we have Madhav's partner in crime, which is Luxman 2. He is also age 13, but technically he should be 14 now, was how they had an episode where it was his birthday. He's pretty much like the crybaby. He is the worrywart. He, if anything goes wrong, he'll end up crying. And they say he speaks in rhymes that can help solve the boys and their troubles. I have no idea if that's true or not because I don't understand the language, so if anyone knows the language and watches the show over in India and knows, feel free to let me know if that's true in the comments. I have no idea. He also has, they said, a chronic cold, which is why he is always sneezing. He also seems to kind of be like a little bit hunched back, which please, honey, straighten up your back. That is not good for you. One little extra detail I do love about his character is, I noticed when he wears his school uniform, is one side of his shirt is untucked. I know it's a pretty simple little detail, but it's really cute and kind of says a lot to his character that he might be more of the sloppy, unorganized one in the group. And of course with him crying, he always has a friend to turn to cry, for a shoulder to cry on, and that is the final boy, Lucky. He is said to be 12 years old, and I know that might confuse some of you guys, being how is a 12-year-old in high school. I've been told by this by other friends who actually live over in India, is that the school system is different compared to one in America, of course. So Lucky is still grouped in high school level, even though he is only 12 years old. Lucky is described to be the pure, sweet, innocent, strong boy. Pretty much doesn't want to join in any of the fights with the boys. He kind of just sits back and lets them rip each other apart and make themselves look like fools. But of course he would fight or help out if needed. One thing though that you should never do is remove that lollipop he has in his mouth, because he will go full on rage mode. I mean, in one episode they showed it and freaking waves were forming. Volcano erupt, birds stopped in the air, the whole world was just gonna explode, all because he did not have a lollipop. Like, that boy can go full on Hulk mode without his lollipop. The boys do use this to their advantage at times when they need to fight someone, to use his strengths to help with something, so he is pretty strong. In the movies, he is actually mute, but in the cartoon he is able to talk, but it is hampered because of the lollipop. I actually did read an article I believe I still have a screenshot of it. I'll put it up on screen. So when they were trying to take the characters and turn them into their kid selves, when it came to Lucky, they didn't want to make it seem like it's okay to make fun of kids with a speech disability. So instead of having him mute, they decided to make him unable to talk with just having the lollipop. So he can still talk, like I said, but it's just through mumbles, which from so far I've seen Luxman 2 is able to translate and knows what he's saying. One thing I have noticed though, at the end of the day, when it comes to the main 5 boys, is they really only have each other. We rarely see them ever actually hanging out with other students, or really actually talking, or, you know, just simply having another person in their group, and more so as, at the end of the day, just these 5. This was very apparent in the Friendship Day episode, where Poppy convinced the principal to have the students split up in teams of 4. Immediately, all the other students were able to find their pairs or their partners in their groups. And here, Gopal, Luxman, Madhav, Luxman 2, and Lucky were all kind of just stranded on their own. They did try asking other students, but were immediately rejected. This definitely shows too that possibly all the other students know that they are clearly rivals, that they clearly don't like each other, and that they will try to cause trouble and mayhem for others, and also too that they try to be on the principal's good side, so they all like to lie and do trickery with that. So definitely I think the other students don't really care much for him, which is a shame, because if I was going to Golden Hills, I'd be hanging out with the boys, okay? They're awesome. They're the cool ones in the group, okay? They're the cool ones, no matter what anyone says. And speaking of the students, though, we do have 3 main students that have kind of stuck out throughout the series. So I'd say one of the main student characters we see down the line is Millie. She is the main boy crushes, which means both Gopal and Madhav fight over her and try to win her love, when more so she seems to go over for Lucky. Maybe because he's honestly probably the most mature one out of the group. He hasn't hit 13 yet. He's not in that teenage, cringy range yet. I have been told by friends and fans that she is somewhat of like kind of cold-hearted, or more so just selfish. She more so just only seemed to care for when the boys were able to provide anything for her, give her anything, or more so just help her in any situation. Even like in the very first episode, she didn't even seem to care much for them when they were calling out to her. But I would say her character somewhat has evolved down the line. I think she got more personality to her compared to when she was first introduced. I think too she's somewhat become more of a friend to the boys, but I think she's sadly never going to give return love to them. Sorry guys, you're in the friend zone. She also has a dog named Bomb. I don't know why she named the dog Bomb, because people freak out when they hear the name, but I mean, you do you. She also, too, seems to live with her grandparents. I'm not sure about parents. We haven't seen any of the other kids' parents yet, but we do know she does have grandparents who are pretty bitter, sour old people. We also have another nerd boy in the school, and his name is
These Nuts.
Distinction. I have no idea why his parents gave him that name, but I guess it's a pretty distinct name. Yes, from his clear looks, he definitely isn't sus at all, and he is the nerdy kind of boy. He more so, I'd say, is the sassy one. He more so just is like serious, focused on his schoolwork, just wants to focus on his studies. He's that type of nerd kid. At first in the beginning, he didn't want to really be around the boys at all. He was more so just not wanting to even deal with them. But I have seen down the line too, he somewhat has become more into the friend group as well. And then the third final student I would say is probably Jags. He is definitely, from the looks of it, comes off as the big, strong, tough kid at the school, most likely probably a bully type. He did seem kind of threatening towards the boys at first, but now I think he just is overall the strong boy that you don't want to get in his way, but I don't really think he causes that much harm or anything to you if you just, you know, don't bug him really. He too at first didn't want to be around the boys or seem to really care at all. But down the line too, I think all 3 of these students have somewhat more opened up or have gotten more character built to them where they will hang out, or we've seen them with the boys at times. Of course, there's also a big whole range of students that we have seen. This one actually looks like a fusion between Vasuli and Luxman 1. Yeah. There was also these other two students, Chunky and Kia, but they soon were rusticated because, at least in Chunky's case, he was trying to kick Gopal out to become the new popular guy in school, while with Kia, it was basically kind of just like the same with Gopal, except she was trying to kick Millie out and become the popular girl. And of course, at the school you have your teachers. We've been introduced to like pretty much a handful of them. And then of course we have the big head main guy himself, Principal Pat Wharton. He is in his 60s. He's actually overall a pretty sweet, jolly guy. I really love his character. He's just overall sweet and caring for his students in school. But of course, too, he wants to make sure his school is well run, is well at the top, you know, neat, organized. His students are all well behaved and well rounded. He believes Gopal and Madhav are best friends and usually turns to them if he needs help with anything, because he sees them as the top wonderful, good students that they are, when they're clearly not. We do later on find out he has a niece, and he also has a crush on a woman named Miss Cookie. Then this leads into the peon, janitor, caretaker of the school, Poppy.
Damn, boy, he's sick!
It is said he's in his 30s. He's just a short, stout kind of man.
Baby man, little baby man, little baby, baby man, little baby man.
I would say he's kind of crazy. He likes to stalk the boys to get proof of them because he knows all too well what they're up to. He knows that they're not the perfect students the principal sees. And he hopes to catch proof on his phone, and he hopes one day to be able to show the principal, and so that the boys would get kicked out or rusticated out of the school. It's funny though, because his phone usually breaks or gets destroyed in the end, so all the proof he got, there's no proof. That's the problem. So this poor dude's probably spent thousands on phone plans and getting new phones, this poor man. I would say too though, he does have a sweet spot. I don't really think he means too much harm. He just really wants to like show the principal the proof and just to look to look good in front of the principal. We do later find out too he has a father who does have a gas issue. And then later on down the line we are introduced to his pet, Rupvati. She's very sweet and adorable. I love her. Those two honestly deserve a spin-off. I mean, if Ting Tong was able to get a spin-off and get a pet named Muru, then, you know, Poppy and his cow deserve a spin-off show. And then we do have another character, Vasuli. Vasuli Bahi is what he's referred to by the boys. And he is age 19, technically 20 now, since there was a birthday episode. And he's also been appearing in the movies. From what I've seen in the first movie, he more so was kind of just like a rival, or more so going after the guys in the movie just because they did owe him money, or they did owe him stuff, and the boys were more so afraid of him and tried to stay away from him. But in the cartoon series, he seems to be definitely like a big brother figure to the boys. I think it's really sweet. Of course, though, too, they still do owe some dues to Vasuli. They usually turn to him at times to kind of use him at times, or just to get stuff out of him, or to get help from him. But of course there are times where the boys will help him out of trouble. He does tend to open up new jobs in every episode he is in, mainly. He does open a lot of businesses. Some don't really do that well, while others have done really well. Sometimes the boys can ruin the businesses on him. And then we do later on to find out that he actually did used to go to Golden Hill. I'm unsure if he was ever rusticated, or if he just dropped out, or if he was just overall a bad or failing student. But this has led to the principal seeing him as a bad influence and not even wanting him near the boys or even near on the school property. Which is kind of sad now, because it actually seems like Vasuli really tries to get the principal's attention, or just wants to like show to the principal that like, look, I've changed, or I'm doing better now. I got like all these businesses. I'm doing okay. I'm not like that young student anymore. So it's actually kind of sad to see that the principal's always judging him, or just doesn't even want to even like talk or deal with him. When here Vasuli wants to show and prove to the principal he has done, or he's better now, which is actually kind of sad. Of course, we have to talk about the parents. I was so happy when they finally revealed the parents. I like freaked out when they were gonna finally come to the show and stuff. I was so happy. Oh my God, it's Weezer! We did actually see Madhav's father way back in an earlier episode, but he was only pretty much shown towards the end. But the parents are Gopal's parents and Madhav's parents. We still yet to have to see the other boys' parents, which I really hope we do, even if it'd be like a quick photo of them all together, like Just give us something, please. So we'll start off with Gopal's parents. He has, of course, the mother and father. His father is Sabji, who is known as like a celebrity chef. He has like his own food blog. He actually makes cookbooks and recipe books. He has cooked for more like well-known people in the area. So he definitely is, I would say, probably what you would say, like I said, the celebrity chef. He's well-known in the area. He seems to pretty much be kind of like a little jokester and prankster himself. And even though he is more so all about like the healthy kind of food, he has been shown to kind of snack and have like a sweet tooth. I would say too, he probably is overall like the sweet kind of fun, understanding father compared to Madhav's father. Then we have Gopal's mom, Sonia. She is more so like the sportswoman. She probably has won a lot of competitions and tournaments, as we can see in the Gopal's house, that there's like this huge shelf area with tons of trophies in it. So she definitely is that tough, strong sportswoman. I would say I feel like at times she can be a little too tough or a little bit too rough. Like, you know, don't eat any junk food, can't have any junk food. You know, you gotta keep practicing, training, go, go, go. That kind of sports person. But in the end of the day, she really is sweet and caring, and in the end tries to look out for Gopal. We then have Madhav's parents. We have Captain GJR, and clearly by the name Captain, that definitely gives you some insight that he definitely is kind of like in the army. It said he's a brigadier, so he's definitely in that kind of force. He'll work security. He's definitely the boot camp type of father. He definitely can be tough. It's kind of sad too, seeing how Madhav seems to be more afraid of his father. Madhav more so is worried on possibly disappointing his father, just even getting in trouble by his father. His father also really loves fishing and loves riding his motorcycle. And then finally we have Madhav's mother, Munmun. Her personality reminds me a lot of my mom, honestly. She loves animals. She has such a loving, sweet, caring personality. It's really adorable. She's a veterinarian, so she takes care of animals, and she basically smothers Madhav in a way. She just loves her son so much and always refers to him as like a baby animal this or baby animal that, and like will pinch his cheeks or rub his hair, and it, you know, she's the embarrassing mom, I would say, in front of the others. She just loves her son. And in the end too, the parents, they're all friends. I'm not sure if it was like the parents were actually all friends in high school or were friends throughout life, and then they just assume their sons are friends. So, you know, their sons have to keep up a good appearance in front of their parents. Yeah, and the parents are close. They're like good friends. Kinda, too close, I would say, maybe.
So is it an open marriage, or?
So going over a quick few other characters that I think are important into the story, we have Mrs. Briganza, who is actually the very first principal or founder of the school. She has since, of course, passed away and is actually a spirit at the school. She has revealed herself to the boys, and she more so just kind of watches over the school and just tries to protect it from, of course, this leads us into our next character, who's, I would say, probably the main villain of the show, Vasudasu, who has not given up and over possibly 10 times now has tried to steal the school property papers. He does this in hopes to be able to, I guess, buy out the school or to take over the school and turn it into a mall. I have no idea how stealing property papers would do that, but alright guy, alright. Another villain I would kind of say in the show is Pandu. He actually also appeared in the movies as well. He acts snake-like, very snake-like. And it's kind of funny too, because in the movies he has a tattoo on his stomach of a king cobra. But I mean, I'm pretty sure in the cartoon form they're like, we can't have him take off his shirt, or maybe they didn't want to show him with a tattoo for kids. So in the end, they ended up printing that on his shirt, which I thought was pretty clever and also funny. Just like, oh, you can't put the tattoo on him, so put it on the shirt design instead. I like his character. I believe too he also possibly might be aged down. He more so is just like your typical kind of robber, or just wants to try to make it quick with cash. He has tried to take over Vasuli's businesses. He also is on the hunt now for this green gem that will help him get snake-like powers, so to say. He more so just ends up running into the boys on accident. He never really seems to actually try to go out and target them. It more so is just like they end up crossing paths, and of course the boys ruin everything for him. There's also these other enemies. It's a rival school known as the Triumph School. You have the principal, I'm not even going to pronounce his name, And he too also had a crush on the woman the principal Pat Wharton did, Miss Cookie, so there was of course that high school rivalry with them. And then you also have the Triumph School boys, and by gosh, man, they're not the best looking students around, honestly. They're kind of like a parallel to the Gomal boys, as we can clearly tell. They have 5 students. You know, you got the 5 boys and then the 5 Triumph boys. They're definitely more so, I would say, on the tougher, meaner side, and they actually are willing to cheat in order to get their way or to gain anything. Of course, like I said, with all episodes, there's tons and tons of characters I could be going through. I could do that on a whole separate video. But more so, these characters I'm showing on screen right now only appeared like maybe in 1 or 2 episodes. So there's not really much to go into them. Come on, I didn't delete it. Okay. Jazz and Raz. Wow, wonderful names. Okay. One thing I would like to point out is these characters right here actually appeared as just simple background characters in a dance competition episode. But then later on we're actually introduced as Jazz and Raz. They're siblings. I actually like the idea that here they just took these simple background characters that only appeared in 1 episode and actually somewhat gave them more character in this other new episode they came out with. So I actually kind of like that, and I hope to see more of that in the future with maybe other background characters getting spotlight, or maybe these guys returning as well. So I actually like that they're able to do that with the characters. So that's pretty much it then for the characters, and now we can finally get into the final of this, and it's the overall review. So what is my overall review on the show? I would say it is very good in my case. I really enjoy it when I hear new episodes are coming on, and when I'm actually sitting in the TV watching them. I like just get this rush. It's a high for me. It's a high for me, dang it. I'm like, it's like a drug. Gomal Jr. is my drug. I just get a rush when I watch the shows. I'm not insane, I promise. Of course, not every episode's a hit. There are a few episodes that might seem boring or more so not have much going on. This one episode right here, this one actually kind of confused me since I didn't really get what it was about. But you can more so actually understand what the episodes are about through the action. That's what I like mostly too, is you don't really need to understand the language fully in order to understand the episode. The title usually helps you along with just seeing how the characters act. Of course though, there are moments and stuff where you might not get it, or jokes that easily will fly over your head if you don't understand the language. And like I said too, I mean, not every episode's going to be a major hit or success. All TV shows will suffer with that, with their more dull episodes. I would say the animation is overall really nice. I think it's more so in like a Flash kind of layer tweening kind of thing. But because you can definitely see there are a few moments where the characters tend to glitch out in a sense. It's actually pretty funny. We have like Luxman 2 dying because his whole head just disappears. We have Luxman 2's whole body disappearing. Sometimes you'll catch the character's mouth or half of their face just disappearing. And then, of course, we have the good old famous Savji anime sword face cut. Don't worry, he'll revive and get his revenge in a later arc of the anime.
Don't lose your way.
There's only a handful of this that has happened. It's not like every episode has this issue. And it is pretty funny when you do catch it and see it. When it comes to voice acting, I would say it is very good as well. A lot of the voices fit the characters perfectly. Note, I'm talking about the Hindi dub. And in the beginning, I would say the voices might be a little stiff or kind of like emotionless at times, as you could say. But of course, that was when the show was first starting and beginning. But now I would definitely say the characters are very comfortable with their roles, and they really love to put emotion and stuff behind it. It's just really fun to hear them. And just to hear the emotions in their voices and stuff, like they really do put a lot into the characters. So the voice acting is really nice as well. So what is my overall score on the show and what I would give it? I would give it a 10 out of 10. And it's just overall a really sweet cartoon. I've had friends refer to it as like a slice of life kind of cartoon. It's just fun watching the boys. I love the character designs. Each one of them are so unique. And just, to me, it's overall just a really good, sweet show. I really love it. I think it's really sweet. It's funny at times. And I just enjoy watching it. I get really happy watching it. It brings me joy. It's just like an overall nice kind of cartoon, I would say. I really do like it and would recommend it. So again, my final score for Gumal Jr. would be 10 out of 10. So this is technically the end of the review, but I am going to be giving a few other little details and stuff, just some random stuff I didn't know where else to really put in. So if you did want to stop watching here, you could, but I'm going to be talking about a few other things that deal with the show as well. So one thing I think I should just quickly mention is this concept art I came across. This was actually on, I believe, on the Nickelodeon website. It shows the principal standing in a dorm room with the 5 boys, but the 5 boys don't look like themselves. And when I seen this, I realized this is probably when they were first designing the characters. As you can see, the boys were technically totally different. I would say Gopal and Madhav still looked the same, but only had a few changes to them. Lucky looked like the freaking spawn of Satan. Like, this kid's glare, like he just has that smug look that he's gonna cause trouble. I'm really glad they changed it. Luxman 1 and Luxman 2 switched places apparently. Luxman 2 had the nerdy boy look to him, while Luxman 1 looks like he would have been a complete jerk. That smug face and smile on him. Not to mention too, without the glasses, it does not look like Luxman 1 without the glasses. He needs those nerdy glasses. So yeah, overall I would definitely say I'm glad we got our boys now compared to this. I wonder what the other characters would have looked like, or maybe we should just keep that in Lost Media section and hope to never see that. Another thing too they do have is mascots. We have a Gopal and Madhav mascot. I would say compared to all the other mascots, these two are probably the only good ones. They actually look like the characters. I actually like the style they went for with them. It looks like them. I think they really did good when it came to these two mascots. I have caught this on film with my camera before, so it's not the best quality, but it seemed like too they actually had a Luxman 1, Luxman 2, and Lucky mascot. From what I've seen, they were shown in like these promos. I'm not sure if it really is like mascots or if they more so like maybe used CGI for them, but so far from what all I know, we have never seen those again after these promo videos. From some friends and stuff that do actually live over in India that I have come across on like online and stuff, is the show is really popular over there. You can even see it on like the Nickelodeon Facebook and stuff. It's usually when the show ends up going on break, you tend to get a lot of kids and stuff commenting saying, "We want Gumal Jr. back. We want Gumal Jr. back. Hashtag justice for Gumal Jr." There is a Facebook group for the show that I ended up joining. There's even a subreddit. And you can also watch me on DeviantArt. You can also find tons of edits where, you know, people will have like their ships for the show, where kids will make little simple edit videos. Heck, and the big thing too is my big famous classic picture when I first drew these boys. That was pretty famous when Gumal Jr. was first coming out and pretty popular and began to really become popular. I would see this art used in a ton of times in other people's thumbnails. So this artwork has been definitely spread worldwide. Heck, it's even on the official like TV scheduling site. It's on this TV scheduling site still, and it's used as like the cover for the show. And I can understand why this spread quickly. I mean, if you do Google Gumal Jr., it's like one of the first images that pops up. So kids and stuff that are Googling it see it and are like, hey, you know? So it is sweet though to see that the show is getting like to this kind of level of popularity. And speaking of ships, there is, of course, you know, this one main thing that happened when Nickelodeon released like these little silhouettes of the characters and like you had to try to guess who. For Madhav, it said, secretly admires Gopal. Now, actually there were hints before that people were kind of leaning towards the whole Gopal and Madhav ship. And from what I've seen though, this definitely was the nail in the coffin, I would say. This definitely has led to more of my friends and stuff I've talked to online to definitely ship the whole Gopal and Madhav. Honestly though, I think those two would be better off with each other because there are tons of moments in the show where they have worked together and been friends or had those close moments. It's actually pretty funny, and I wonder if the show's hinting towards anything. I mean, when you compare it with how Millie treats them, I think those two would be better off with each other. And when I come across with the fan base, there is a lot of art. It's more so I've seen like on these YouTube videos, it's called like How to Draw the Boys, and it's usually just more so just images from screenshots. There are of course a few friends that I know online and on DeviantArt that have drawn art of the boys as well. And then of course you can watch me on DeviantArt. But yeah, it is nice to actually see there is a fan base for the show and to see like it does get like a simple video edits and even fan art of it. So it is nice, because at first when I was first starting off, you know, I didn't really expect much. I didn't know if people would really be able to find me since I live all the way over here in America. But it is actually nice to come across, and even like I said, the fan group on Facebook. It is nice to just, you know, have a few friends to talk about with the show. So I do know a few ways where you can watch the show. There are a few episodes they have loaded up on YouTube. The only issue is there's certain parts in the episodes where they, I guess, didn't have their own right to their own music, so they had to put in copyright-free music over it, which kind of stinks because it's really loud, it comes out of nowhere, and it kind of actually plays over some parts where the boys talk, so that might not be too well. The only episode so far that I've seen they uploaded that does not have that issue is the Christmas party episode, so if you wanted to watch that one, I would highly recommend that one. Another thing I do know is, of course, the main Voot channel, or the Voot website. What you would do is you'd have to, if you do not live in India, what you have to do is get a VPN. This is the one I use. It's free. You just have to go on and hook up to one of the India servers. And then you would just have to type in Voot Kids, you know, click on the main link, and then you're onto the website. You can just go ahead and watch the Gomal Jr. from there. Just note though, if the episode has a little crown by it, that means it is behind a paywall. From what I tried, I don't think, since I don't live in the area or in the country, of course, I don't think there's any way for me to pay. I can't even see anything, like any of the plans. It might be different for you guys, I have no idea, but yeah, so those episodes, the ones with crowns, are behind a paywall, but other than that, the episodes that don't, you can just go ahead and watch. And they do give little descriptions of the episodes as well, so you'd be able to kind of understand what's going on in the episode. I actually found this through a friend of mine, that there was actually, on this one website, they actually do have episode 1 and episode 2 with English subtitles. I'll link those down below where you can go watch them. And I would definitely recommend watching the first episode because, you know, it's the one where you get to introduce to the characters and kind of get to see everything, how like everything goes on. But at least so far, those were, I would say, be the quickest and like easiest ways to go ahead and watch some of the episodes. There also is an app game out for the show. You just have to look up Gomal Jr. in like the Play Store. For some reason the game isn't called Gomal Jr. like Bike Racer or anything like that. It's under a whole different name. I believe more so the game was made and came out right when the show was first airing to kind of hype up and promote it more. You basically could play as either of any of the 5 boys. You have to buy Lucky. And you have to try to stop Poppy from getting the proof of you riding your bike to the principal apparently. And it's just one of those kind of endless runner games. I actually like it. I really enjoyed the game. There's just some few things I wish. Like I wish each boy had like a different power-up or a different like thing to them. I know they've actually done that in the little Shingam games where like if you change his uniform you're more likely to get this or you're most likely to find this power-up. For here it's just the boys are all the same. None of them are really different. So I would have liked that in that case. I do like the area the game is in though, because it's not just like a typical road. You actually do get to see the school. And I also do like this little callback to the episode where they do come up to this abandoned building. You actually see it in the game. I thought that was actually really cool that they included that. And by gosh though, the game models. Ugh.
They're so ugly. Oh my god, okay. This is what I wanted, okay? This is the pastels, and this is what I got!
I feel so bad. The Luxman 2 model got done so dirty. I feel so bad for that kid. The only one that looks good, I would say, is Luxman 1. They look like the boys, but it just really hits that uncanny valley vibe. And then later on, when Little Shingam came out with this learning app game, you can find these on YouTube, they actually had a crossover with the Gomal Junior boys. Like the Gomal Junior boys would just be doing something, and then Little Shingam would come in to help teach them or help them out with stuff. So this kind of shows too that these shows possibly do exist together. I like to headcanon that and think that. I like to think all the shows kind of exist together. Not like Chris Chan levels. One thing that does make me sad when it comes to the show is, seeing as how it is so popular with kids and all, you would think there'd be merchandise. There's Matu Patlu, there's Shiva merchandise. Even Pogo has made some merchandise when they have like their mall meetings at the malls or like in little festivals. But there is nothing really for the Gomal Junior boys, which is kind of sad, seeing how popular it is with kids over there. Especially too when I've come across these websites where it shows like different patterns or like different stickers, I would say in a sense, or just different designs that look like they would be used for merchandise. I do know they did release a treat box, like a subscription kind of box, a few months ago, and then they ended up releasing another one, but you got a sticker sheet, and it only had a Gopal and Madhav sticker on it. And it's kind of funny though, because on that sticker it looks like Gopal's kind of crushing hard for Madhav and those mad cricket skills he's got. Ooh. So yeah. That's another hint, possibly. But other than that, there hasn't really been anything that I've seen. So, you know, but luckily with me being a crafter, I'm able to create my own stuff. Hang on. That's one thing with being a crafty kind of person. You're able to make your own stuff. But yeah, other than that, I haven't heard or seen anything about merchandise, which is kind of sad. I think if they were to, I think it would be a big hit over there. I would definitely love to get my hands on some. Alright, so that's finally going to be it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I plan to maybe try to do other reviews of the cartoons I've watched, like Gatu Batu, Smashing Simba, Little Shingam, Ruda. So if you guys are interested in that, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope this gives you a chance to kind of give a watch for the show. Anyways, thank you again so much for watching, and have a good day.